Hey y'all, welcome to What's Cooking Bee, to my very first episode. I'm so excited to have you guys here with us today. As you can see, I got a little something that I'm whipping up. I do have my wine with me because I have to be drinking while I'm cooking. It lightens the mood. I love to be dancing, so if you see me doing a little two-step, it's all of my personality coming out. So today we're going to be making some Haitian black rice. It's actually called Haitian mushroom rice, and I'm going to be able to guide you guys and tell you guys exactly what it is that I'm going to use in terms of my ingredients and everything. But I've already prepped everything, so I'm not going to teach you guys how I prepped my griot. If you're Haitian, you know what griot is. Griot is basically fried pork. We use a lot of the skin of the pork to actually give it that little bit of crunchiness. So that's what griot is. It's a traditional thing. If you're Haitian, you know. If you're not, I feel sorry for you. But anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So first things first, we're going to start with the griot, only because it takes a little bit of time. Honestly, guys, you really have to prep that at least a day in advance. I prepped my griot in terms of making sure that I seasoned it pretty well last night, and then earlier today I went ahead and I started boiling it. So if you can look over here, you'll see it's already pre-boiled. I'll have a different segment on how I go ahead and cook and in terms of how I prep my griot, how I season it. We'll do that another episode, so make sure you stay tuned. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start with that. I have my oil already preheated. You guys, I was actually really hoping to use this fryer. If you have a fryer, I highly recommend using this fryer. It's going to save you a lot of hassle, but I really couldn't find the cord, so forgive me for not being all up on it. But I promise you, next time, we're gonna save us a lot of time by using this fryer. So if you don't have a fryer, I'm not sure you can use air fryer though. I have to make that distinction because I know people use air fryers a lot, but us Haitians haven't gotten up to speed yet. So we're not using air fryers. So we're gonna go ahead and be very traditional with it. We have our oil preheated. And then the first thing that we're going to do, the one thing I have to say with griot, because it is pork, there's a lot of fat in here. So when you're frying it, what's going to end up happening is it might pop everywhere. So if you're not a pro at this, you might want to give yourself a little bit of a distance. I'm not saying I'm a pro, but I'm a pro, basically. I've done this a few times. So you give yourself a little bit of a distance to kind of make sure. Y'all ever seen those memes of people cooking and then they got this long extension thing and they're like, this is how I fry my meat? That's exactly, if you're not a pro at this, I highly suggest taking a distance. But as you're frying your griot, or I should say your pork, just make sure that you keep it maybe around at a low level, because you don't want it to start splashing everywhere, because it'll splash everywhere and you'll get burned and it'll cause a mess. You really don't want that. And that's actually why I suggest you guys to have a fryer, because a deep fryer will prevent all of that mess and all of that extra step that we have to take. But basically all I'm doing right now is taking my already pre-boiled, I boiled this for about 30-35 minutes. You don't want to boil it too much, because what ends up happening is it gets too cooked, and then when you fry it, it just, you lose that actual texture of it. So I want to say 35 minutes at max pre-boiled, and then when you fry it, it's already going to be cooking anyway, so just kind of be mindful of that. It may not take everything, so normally what I like to do, another thing, you guys, don't just take it with the water and then put it in because that's just gonna pop everywhere. You don't want to do that, right? You want to make sure you have a spoon that has some holes in it or whatever, so that way you can actually drip it out. So while that is frying, we're gonna go ahead and start our rice. This rice, like I mentioned to you guys, it's called mushroom rice or black rice. And the reason why it's black is because we use dry mushrooms, right? You can get these a lot of times at like supermarkets. You'll find them if you're in Florida area, like Bravo, Sedano's. If you're in like the Georgia area, all these Korean and Asian people, so they will probably have some dry mushrooms for you. If you don't see the actual dry mushrooms itself, we do have like the actual, it's the Maggi version of it. Basically what they did was they took this and put it into a cube. So if you don't have this, you can use that. Sometimes I like to use both of them because the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, baby. So the first thing that you do is, I did this last night, you guys. You can do it the morning of, you can do it the day before, really doesn't matter. But what you do is you're going to get hot water, just regular tap sink water. You don't have to boil or anything, but just get hot water and put it in here. And you're gonna take your dry mushrooms and you're going to soak them in this water, right? So you leave it in there. Again, you can do it in the morning before you start cooking your rice, or in the afternoon, whichever. Or sorry guys, another thing about cooking, as you're cooking, you have to keep it out for like other things to make sure that you're not burning anything. So back to this, you're going to make sure that you have enough water based off of the amount of rice that you have. I'm gonna show you guys how I go ahead and control this. But to move forward, once you've had this soaked in, the next thing we're gonna do is, I'll show you guys the step by step, but that's basically how you get the color, the black color. Now, one thing I have to call out, this isn't a traditional dish that Haitians cook all the time. Like a lot of times, like we cook it at parties or like, graduations or something like that. It's considered a luxurious Haitian meal. So for all my Haitians out there, I really hope I represent for y'all. I hope I did this, correctly. I know I'm going to do this correctly because my name is Vakanya, and y'all going to see, that I got that shit on lock. Forgive me if I curse, but, it happens sometimes. It's just, it's just the nature of it all. So let's get started. I already have some oil in here, already preheated. And then the first thing that we're going to do, so you guys, if you're from the Caribbean, we use what we called epis. Epis is blended with a lot of different spices. Mine look a little bit colorful. A lot of times it looks green, but mine looks colorful because I add hot sauce and I add some like bell peppers, red bell peppers in there. But I'll have a different segment. This is why you gotta stay tuned, because you gotta see how I make this beautiful epis, baby. So as soon as I'm able to, I'll make a different segment for you guys so you guys can watch it and see how I cook my epis. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some epis, and we already have our oil preheated. So again, be mindful of what you can handle and what you cannot. I just take 2 scoops of this, like just this amount is perfectly fine. One thing about me is when I started cooking, I really didn't start with measuring cups or anything like that, which you guys, I promise next time I will make sure I have some measuring cups for y'all, okay? Because, I know I'm not white or nothing like that, but I want to make sure that I have everything popping. So next time I will have some measuring cups for you guys, because I know it helps you guys understand. I mean, not everybody can go with their gut. Your gut might be telling you to put a little bit more and then it don't work out. So once you have that, already frying in here, the next thing is I had diced up some onions, some green onions, as well as some garlic already pre-washed. Again, like you don't really need a lot. It's just a little bit. You're gonna go ahead and put it in here. I like to feel things with my hands. I promise you guys, my hands are washed. I know it's COVID and all, so like y'all probably looking at me like, girl, like, did you wash your hands? Yes, I did. I did wash my hands. So yeah, so we have that in here. I just love the smell. Honestly, it's just the aroma. I can't wait till I live in Paris to be like, oui, oui, oh, c'est la vie. right, so while we have that going, you guys, make sure that you are checking on your pork, because if not, it can get real crispy real quick. So as you're, making sure that this is going, just kind of stir this and let it fry. It's going to take some time for it to fry. We're looking for like a golden brown color. So until it gets there, we're not quite there yet. So the next step we're moving forward is we're taking our peas. Now you can use just regular green peas. Some people use lima beans, perfectly fine, or just green peas. These are from the frozen section at Publix. If you don't have a Publix next to you, then Kroger, Walmart, I don't know, but green peas. Make sure you go ahead and wash them off, thaw them out for a little bit. If not, it doesn't really matter because they're kind of already pre-cooked. So we'll go ahead and put this in here. All right. You guys, this smells amazing. I wish there was like a way where you guys can smell exactly what's going on right now, because it just smells as amazing as it looks. All right. So this is an old-fashioned way of cooking this. A lot of people might not use this. There's this thing that I would normally put in there. It's called I can't think of the name right now. But this is tri. I don't know how to say it in English, you guys. English is my second language. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Sometimes I'll be like, wait, how you say that again? But this is called tri in Creole. And you can find this again at like any of those supermarkets or like these Asian markets or Hispanic markets. But what it is basically dried dried shrimp skins. So we use that to give it a little flavor, honestly. You're not gonna actually taste the mushroom or anything like that. It's kind of like peppers, or I should say like garlic or something like that. Like you may or may not taste it, but it gives it a little So traditionally, a lot of Haitians would use tri while they're making Diri Djon Djon. That's how you say it in Creole. I know I kind of said that kind of fast, right? Diri Djon Djon. But basically what it is rice with mushrooms, if I was to translate that word for word. But so we'll go ahead and put a little bit of this. I'm not going to use a lot, honestly. If you look, again, I don't use measuring thing, but just, you ever seen that whole made you look thing? Yeah, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and put that in here. And honestly, that's more than enough. And you guys, as we're cooking, the one thing that I really want everybody to know about me is, or about cooking in general, is cooking comes out of love, right? Like if you enjoy what you do, it's gonna come out right. And then you go with your gut feeling. So if you see me just kind of like add a little here and there, it's just the nature of the game, you know? So again, with checking up on our pork, just making sure every time you're turning, just kind of keep an angle at a distance, because again, they can pop. And if you're Haitian, you know. All right, I did tell you guys earlier about this Maggi cube. So this Maggi cube is basically this in a cube. And the reason why I use it, so you have like this right here, which is the water that we're going to use to cook our rice. But this is practically this in a cube, honestly. So it's just a dried mushroom. They put it in a Maggi cube. I'm going to use some of it because I like to make sure that my rice is really dark, right? Like, I feel like if you're making Diri Djon Djon and it's not dark enough, girl, you could have just left that, you know? Like, could have went back to your mama's kitchen or something to get a little bit of help, because it just doesn't make sense, you know? So this is why I use both. And I just used 3 cubes. If I did not have the mushroom, like the dry mushrooms soaked up, then I would have used more cubes. But because I have that, I'm just gonna use 3 cubes for right now. And guys, make sure like you're cleaning up as you go, you know. All right. One thing about cooking this meal is it takes a lot of like little processes and steps, but once it's done, it's just so worth it. I hope you guys are having a great day today. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I had a very long day. Like I'm running on a lot of energy right now, and I don't even know how I'm able to do it. So if you had a great day, great. If you didn't, I really hope your night gets better. And I hope that as you're watching me cook, it brings a little joy. Because that's all I'm about, really, is just bringing some joy into your life. Okay, so now we're going to move on over to our next step, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and start adding my seasoning and stuff. I got some black pepper here. Doesn't matter the brand. I know some people are like, well, what brand do you use? Girl, I don't know. I just use whatever brand of black pepper I can find. Black pepper is black pepper. So we're going to go ahead. I did not measure again with the measuring. I promise you I'm going to get it for y'all. But you got to keep going until your ancestors tell you to stop. You know what I'm saying? So that's just, it is what it is. So the next thing I have, like we're not going to put this yet, but this pepper, this is habanero pepper. It's green habanero pepper. And traditional Haitians like to put, you know, this black pepper cloves on here. When you have your rice boiling, we're gonna go ahead and put this on there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it right now. A lot of Haitians might be familiar with this because this is just what we do. So while you have that, I have some adobo. Okay, you guys, I know there was this whole controversy thing about Goya. We're gonna get into that another day. And I know they support Trump and everything, but hey, Trump's not in office right now. So we're still gonna use this because it just makes my food taste great. Not that I support Trump or anything. And not that we're gonna talk about politics right now because we're just worrying about food. But for anybody that's just, you know, I know how the world is. Everything is politically correctness. So y'all might be like, oh, she using Goya. Don't you know that? Yes. Yes, sis. I know. But we're going to use it anyways. So I went ahead and, so I've already used my black pepper. I've already used some of my adobe, which is like an all-purpose seasoning. I have some garlic salt that I'm going to go ahead and put in there. And all of this is just going to add to the flavor of it all. All right. So now that we have that, I'm not going to go ahead and put this yet, but honestly, I bought out 2 because I had a feeling that I might use 2, but I'm not going to use 2 because I don't want my rice to be salty. So we're going to go ahead and use 1 and 1 of another Maggi cube. Essentially they taste the same, but it's a different flavor. You know, it's the flavor of it all. So we're gonna go ahead and use these 2, and then for this, since it's already frying, now we go ahead and do the fun part. This is the fun part because I like the actually pouring out. So what we do is we use our hands to, well, I'll show you. I can show you better than I can tell you. All right, so we come here with this. Move some of this out of my way. And what you do is you basically take your hand and the mushroom and you just kind of like, y'all ever seen that movie Ghost? Where like Patrick Swayze was just over here caressing whatever he was caressing. Yeah, you know, it's just kind of like your own ghost with like Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze. You know, just do your own thing. Kind of like a sculpture that you're molding. But what you're doing essentially is trying to get all of the mushroom juice out of the mushroom. So you're squeezing it. And that's what's going to make the water black. And essentially that's what's going to make the rice black. So just get a drainer and pour this in. We may not end up using all of this. Actually, I'm not going to use all of this because I don't think I'm going to make that much rice. So how you know how much water to use really depends on the amount of rice you want to cook, right? You don't want to make your rice too soggy. You don't want to make your rice too hard. It just has to be perfect. And let me say this, with the Diri Djon Djon, I don't know if you can make it with crock pot. I know people have like, you know, crock pots for making rice. In my culture, we don't really use crock pots. So a lot of time when I'm making rice, I just do it the old-fashioned traditional way. Just saves a lot of time. So guys, so I'm going to go ahead, once you've drained your water, again, see it's black. I don't put no salt in here. I don't put no adhesive, nothing on here. All I did was just put hot water, use the dry mushrooms right here. And you can use, I use 2 scoops. The more you use, the darker your rice will be. Remember, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. I love that. Like, I love Tupac, you guys. Like, I know it's like a thing, like where every Haitian loves Tupac. But I love Tupac. Well, everybody loves Tupac. But the more mushrooms you use, the darker your rice will be. So once you've drained this, what we're going to do is pour this in here. And what should happen, because you've already went ahead and put all of your spices, all of our Maggi and everything like that, it should already, like, once we stir it, give it a nice flavor. But you can see that the water is already black, and that's what is going to give that rice that black color. But again, this is a traditional Haitian dish. Like, throughout our segment of What's Cooking Bee, you'll get to see a different variety of what's really cooking with me. But I do want to show you guys my culture. I do want to show you guys, you know, where I come from, what makes me who I am. I'm very, very proud of my culture. And food is another thing that I love to do, you know. I love to cook. I love to cook for people. I think it brings true love when you're able to cook for people and able to taste. Sorry, that was like kind of awkward, but it was perfect though, because that's just how it is. You know, sometimes you got to take a step and just taste it real quick. So right now we're missing a few ingredients. As you're tasting, you're going to start to see what it is that you're missing. And remember, I had told you guys that I'm only going to use one of this, because if you use too much, it just might make your rice a little bit salty. I personally do not use salt when I am making my rice. Well, it depends. If I'm making white rice, yeah. But for this rice, I do not use salt, because I just feel like salt is so bland, you know. Like, who uses salt? Just pure salt, just nothing else. So I use, like, you know, Maggi and, like, obviously garlic, like you guys saw. So I'll just put 1 packet of this in here. And while that is going, I normally like to put some butter. Sorry guys, I definitely have to clean as I go, because if not, like, one thing I cannot do is work in a messy kitchen. Like, I can't. It just has to be somewhat clean. So one thing that I normally like to do is I like to put some butter in my rice. I mean, I know that I've already put some oil in there, and some people are like, oh, toi l'huile. If you don't understand, then you don't understand. But nah, I mean, what I said was, like, some people might say it's too much oil, but it's really not, because I feel like butter just gives it like a little creamier taste. Like, butter just, I can't believe it's butter. Like, butter just gives it like a different taste, you know? So we'll have that going. And then now, remember this that I had talked about, you guys? I just love how it looks. I don't even know how this came about. Like, I should really look this up. But basically, Haitians have this thing where I'm going to put one at the bottom just because it feels like I should put one there. Like, right there. Haitians always feel like, you know, they have to put the peppers, and I don't know why. But anyways, this is how we do it. And then just dip it in there. Again, this is habanero. If you do not like spicy food, please, you can exit that part out. Like, you can just take this out. Don't even put it in there. But I'm Caribbean. We like spicy food. So this is what we do. So now once you've put everything, you can go ahead and put your temperature up on high. And then actually I'm gonna leave this here. And we're gonna go ahead and come back to this. Ooh, look at that, y'all. You see in the duration of time that I was prepping for the rice, this was already like, you know, that golden brown. That's that color that we're looking for. So in a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and start taking these out. I love griot, you guys. Like, griot is just like, it's griot, you know. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself a bowl to start putting these in. Some people like to go ahead and put like, how do you say that? Some paper towel to drain and soak that oil out. I'll do it just because I want to be conscious of, you know, being healthy and all. But you don't have to. It's simply if you want to, and then once that all of that oil soaks out, then you can go ahead and take that napkin out. But once you're taking it out, guys, please be very careful because it has a tendency to pop. So just be mindful of that. But you just need a nice golden brown, almost very brownish color on there. It's just perfect. You know, you don't want your griot to be too dark. I mean, dark for this is great. Dark for this is no bueno. Oh, y'all, I speak a little Spanish, so nah, I'm lying. I don't speak no damn Spanish. But I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I started cooking when I was like 9. My mother, she's over there in the family room. She actually started teaching me how to cook at a very young age, and I just fell in love with it. I don't know, it's just one of those things that we all have our thing, and this is my thing. So as you can see, we still have this. It's gonna take a while for it to start to boil. We're not going to do anything to this until it actually starts to boil. And when it starts to boil is when we're gonna go ahead and put our rice in. But y'all hear that pop? Like it would pop. Yeah, that's like if you're not careful, it will definitely pop you in the eye. Now, if we were using this, which is what I intended to use, it would have saved us a lot of this. But again, I don't know about the air fryer part. All right, you guys, the most important part about making your Diri Djon Djon, or really just making any Haitian rice for that matter, is your coconut milk. You have to add your coconut milk. Doesn't matter about the brand. Again, you can use the Griot brand if that's your cup of tea, or whatever brand you want to use. But make sure you put your coconut milk only after you've put in all of your ingredients, your mushroom rice, your mushroom water, all of your seasoning and everything like that. And then you put this in here. Now, this has been boiling for about 10 to 15 minutes. You let it boil for a good amount of time, so that way the water is not like, you know, you want it to actually cook, you know, so that way when you put the rice, it doesn't taste like as if it hasn't been cooked for a while. So once you've put that, we're gonna let that sit in here for a while, and we take our rice. So this is about a 3 cup, just a regular measured cup of rice. Again, you can put as much rice as you can. I'm gonna teach you guys how I determine. Okay, so we wash our rice, you guys. I don't know about y'all, but it's a thing if you're from the Caribbeans, or really, I know like people from Africa do it too. Like, we wash our rice. I know some people just put it in there, but we wash it to take the starch off and everything like that. So just a little slow motion. But you can use cold water or warm water, it doesn't really matter, but just kind of like make sure that all of that white stuff is really the starch that you're taking out of the rice. So drain it. Some people like to do 2 you know, like 2 rinses. It don't really matter, you guys. You can do 2. I think 1 is perfectly more than enough, so long as you took your time to actually rinse the rice through. So once you're done, I'm gonna go ahead and take our rice and bring it over here. Now, if you really want to be Haitian with it, you're really supposed to use your hand to put the rice in. It's like, it's a culture thing, you know. So you just like scoop it up and dip it in there. Got to be careful while you're doing this because it can splash everywhere, but that's how you do it. If you're scared of, you know, getting burnt or whatever, you guys are welcome to use the spoon to scoop the rice instead of doing this whole part, but that's really what you do. Now, you see as how I'm putting in the rice and the water is kind of going up. You kind of want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on that water because it's going to determine how well your rice is cooked. Whether your rice is like soggy or, you know, just firm looking rice. You know what I mean? Ugh. You guys, I chose the wrong time to wear white when I'm cooking this black rice, but it's all good. It's just show y'all that I can be clean, classy, cute while cooking in the kitchen. I'm just kidding. Let me stop. So yeah, so once you guys have all of that done, you can go ahead and start stirring it up. How many of y'all like to dance while you cook? Like, I don't know about y'all, but I just feel like it just puts everything in the right mood. All right, so you guys, while I'm stirring this, I can already tell that I might have to take a little bit of water out. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how I can tell. Now, if you've been doing this for a while, you've kind of learned the art of cooking the right amount of rice and just making sure that it's not, you know, too, what we say, pot. That's how we say sticky rice. I know a lot of, on a cultural thing, and I do plan on showing you guys when I have like my Festival of All Nations, so you guys can see different food from different cultures. So I know Asian people like to make their rice very sticky. Yeah, that's not a thing in our culture. Sticky rice is called pot, and we don't like no pot rice. You know, we like our rice to be nice and firm for the most part. You know what? I was going to add a little bit more of some of the mushroom to make it darker, but I think it's fine. So now it looks a little bit gray, but once the rice starts to actually cook, it's gonna start to turn. So while that is boiling, we're gonna let this boil. Oh, I forgot to mention to you guys how I know the amount of rice. So you're gonna take your spoon and you're gonna dip it in. And depending on how far, you'll feel the pressure of the spoon versus the amount of water that you have between the rice and the spoon. I mean, the rice and the, like where the rice and where the spoon touches the rice versus like how much water you have on top will let you know. Like I can already tell it's too much water. So what I normally do, because this pot is not big enough, you can always perfect your rice so long as you pick up on what's going on at the very, very beginning. So now I'm just gonna take a little bit of water out and then continue forward. So while that's boiling, we have our banan. I gotta teach y'all, you know, some Creole words because your girl is Haitian. Even though I'm gonna be cooking some other food, I definitely want you guys to understand a little bit about me and my culture. So we have some plantains. I had these soaked in here. This is salt water, cold salt water. Do not use warm water because sometimes it wither the plantains, but it's just regular, just cold salt water. I've had it soaked in here for about 20 to 30 minutes. The longer the better, because what it does is the water seeps into the plantains and it gives it that really nice salty crunchy taste when you're actually eating it. So the first thing that we do is you don't need a spoon or anything like that. Just make sure you wash your hands, you guys. Always make sure you wash your hands. But you just, you know, take the plantains out of the water, shake them out a little bit, and then put them into your already preheated oil. Now, if you have a fryer, a deep fryer, you're welcome to use a deep fryer. It's also great for frying as these plantains as well. So now all you do is just kind of like stir it up a little bit. Now the color that we're going to look for in these plantains is also a golden brown, or a golden yellow, I should say. It should have that nice golden yellow color. And the reason why we needed to have a golden yellow color, it just indicates that it's been cooked on the inside, and now I'm able to go ahead and smash it. So we're gonna smash it, and I'll teach you guys the next step on how I make the perfect banan pizza, which is a fried plantains and Creole. So I hope you guys have been having an amazing time so far. I know I have. It's definitely been a long day, but hey, your girl is killing it. So thank you guys so much for sticking through. If you've been sticking through, I hope you hit that subscribe button down below. Thank you again. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their mama, to tell their grandmother, to tell a grandfather, whatever, whoever you got to tell. Once again, I appreciate you guys for sticking through. So now we're gonna go ahead and start on our plantains. Again, just make sure that you have your preheated oil already going. Remember, we wanted these to be golden, kind of like a goldish yellow color. Once you've able to attain that color, the first thing that you're gonna do is squish them. So we get these in Haiti. I don't know what they're called in English actually, but this is what we use to smash our plantains. So my hope is eventually we're gonna go ahead and do different segments where we see different cultures and how they do their plantains. I know in the Dominican Republic they call these tostones. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Haitians came up with it first. These Cubans, whatever, kind of just stole that. I said what I said. Anyways, so yeah, so I'll definitely, you know, have different people from different cultures to show me how they do their fried plantains. But I know, you know, Nigerians do it differently, Haitians do it differently, but this is how we do it. So you're gonna go ahead and take your smasher, I guess this is what we're gonna call it for the day, and just make sure you really smash it. Now the reason why you want this to be like a golden yellow color, oh sorry, see, you have to be mindful. Make sure you dip it into this water first. This is the salt water. I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure I graze it in, so that way when you bite into it, it has this salty taste to it, and it's not bland, you know what I mean? But what I was saying before, the reason why we want to get this kind of golden yellowish color is because we want to make sure that it's cooked on the inside. And if it's cooked on the inside, it makes it a lot easier to go ahead and squish it, and to give it that a little bit of definition, not even definition, but get that flavor inside of it. Don't mind me, y'all. It seems like this one just want to be stubborn, but I think I know why. All right, so you're just gonna squeeze. You can buy these at like any type of like if you're in Southern Florida, Sedanos, Bravos. If you're out here like in the, like, you can buy this at any type of store that has Hispanic food or Mediterranean food, Korean food. They could probably have this, but I'm just kind of putting it diagonally to kind of get that shape that I want, and then you just press. It should press very smoothly. If it's not pressing very smoothly, that means that you did not let your plantains cook long enough, and that's really the reason why it's not pressing. But honestly, this is one of my favorite meal because I love plantains, and fried plantains is just one of those delicacies, I guess you could say. This whole meal is really a delicacy because, one, it takes a long time. Two, ain't nobody got time to be cooking all this food all the time, you know, just on a regular. So you got to be very special. So thank you guys for sticking through. That means that you're very special for me to cook this as my first meal, as my first tribute to y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me cook. So again, you have your black mushroom rice. You have your griot, which is fried pork. You have your fried plantains. And then this is some pickles. We'll do an addition for it separately. And then you have a little bit of sauce on the side. You always have the sauce to complement the rice. So what you would do is just put the sauce on top of the rice, and voila, bon appetit. Thank you guys for coming and seeing what's really good with What's Cooking V. And on that note, Peace out, you guys.
With Bobby's winning.